Citroën 2CV or 2 Cheval Vapeur was an air-cooled front-engined, front-wheel drive economy family car introduced in 1948 at the Paris Mondial de l'Automobile and manufactured by Citroën from 1948 to 1990. Part of his design brief was to allow a full family to ride with their hats on inside the car and to carry a basket of eggs across a plowed field without breaking any of the eggs. It was successful in meeting its design brief. Citroën went on reproducing technological advances way ahead of their time. In 1954 they produced the world's first hydro-pneumatic self-leveling suspension system, known here in South Africa as die kar wat opstaan as hy loop, roughly translated as the car that stands up before it runs. Then in 1955 the revolutionary DS, the first mass-produced car with modern disc brakes, and in 1967 they introduced in several of their models swiveling headlights mated to the steering system that allowed for greater visibility on winding roads. More recently, Citroën Savolt, later known as DS Savolt, was a concept electric racing car produced by Citroën and presented at the 2010 Frankfurt Motor Show when Tesla was still in its infancy. It had the then phenomenal range of 200 kilometers, and as a racing car it possessed good top speed and awesome acceleration. So what, you may well ask, has Citroën to do with Skylink?
The answer is quite simple. It is an adherence to technological and innovative ethics to advance humanity and make all our lives better. More about this a little later. The aerospatial BAC Concorde was a British-French turbojet-powered supersonic passenger airliner that was operated from 1976 until 2003. It had a maximum speed over twice the speed of sound at Mach 2.04 with seating for about 100 passengers. First flown in 1969, Concorde entered service in 1976 and operated for 27 years until airlines saw fit to kill it off, after some unfortunate incidences not directly the fault of the aircraft. It is one of only 2 supersonic jetliner models to operate commercially. The other is the Soviet-built Tupolev Tu-144, which operated in the late 1970s. The Tu-144 was the world's first commercial supersonic transport aircraft, with its prototypes made in flight from Zhukovsky Airport on 31 December 1968, 2 months before the British-French Concorde. The Tu-144 was a product of the Tupolev Design Bureau. 16 aircraft were manufactured by the Voronezh Aircraft Production Association in Voronezh. The Tu-144 conducted 102 commercial flights, of which 55 carried passengers at an average service altitude of 16,000 meters, which is 52,000 feet, and cruised at a speed of around 2,200 kilometers per hour, which is 1,400 miles per hour, which is Mach 2. The Tu-144 first went supersonic on 5 June 1969, 4 months before Concorde, and on 26 May 1970 became the world's first commercial transport to exceed Mach 2. The Boeing 2707 was an American supersonic passenger airliner project during the 1960s. After winning a competition for a government-funded contract to build an American supersonic airliner, Boeing began development at its facilities in Seattle, Washington. The design emerged as a large aircraft with seating for 250 to 300 passengers and cruise speeds of approximately Mach 3. It was intended to be much larger and faster than preceding SST designs such as Concorde. In 1971, the US Senate cancelled funding. The National Committee for an American SST urged supporters to send $1 American each to keep the program alive. Letters of support from aviation buffs containing nearly $1 million worth of contributions poured in. Labor unions also supported the SST project, worried that the winding down of both the Vietnam War and Apollo program would lead to mass unemployment in the aerospace sector. AFL-CIO President George Meany suggested that the race to develop a first-generation SST was already lost, but the US should enter the competition for the second generation, the SSTs of the 1980s and the 1990s. The House of Representatives voted to end SST funding on 20 May 1971. The vote was highly contentious but ended with a vote against further funding, with 215 against the project to 204 in support. At the time, there were 115 unfilled orders by 25 airlines. The 2 prototypes were never completed. Due to the loss of several government contracts and a downturn in the civilian aviation market, Boeing reduced its numbers of employees by more than 60,000. The SST became known as the airplane that almost ate Seattle. Let's move to the present. Boom, a United States aircraft builder, intends to roll out its supersonic passenger jets in 2025, with plans to begin commercial flights in 2029. Once operational, the Overture is expected to be the first large commercial aircraft to be net zero carbon from day one, optimized to run on 100% sustainable aviation fuel. Capable of flying at speeds of 1.7 Mach, twice the speed of today's fastest airliners, Overture can connect more than 500 destinations in nearly half the time. For example, we can expect flights such as San Francisco to Tokyo in just 6 hours. Overture will also be designed with features such as in-seat entertainment screens, ample personal space, and contactless technology.
Recently, when Blake Skoll of Boom was asked about the proposal of supersonic flight between cities for as little as $100, he stated, and I quote, "You know, for example, electric cars when they first came out, they were pretty expensive, but we kept working on them and the price came down. They got better and better, and so we're going to do the same with supersonic jets. We're going to keep working on them, we're going to keep innovating." Because there is no Boom available for Flight Sim 2004, I searched and found an aircraft of similar capabilities for 2004. It is a fictional concept, at this time known as the Embraer Fulgens FGX7. In my flight sim, I flew from Johannesburg to Cairo at a cruising altitude of 60,000 feet and cruising speed of Mach 1.24, as the Boom would. I flew the journey flight distance of 3,873 miles or 6,233 kilometers in a flight time of 4 hours and 35 minutes. Let's go back to the statement made earlier about an adherence to technological and innovative ethics to advance humanity and make all our lives better. This is what you can expect from Skylink, an airline that will not only give you a ride from here to there, but one that will explore alternative technologies, always looking beyond the basic service, and like Citroën, a company that will deliver the best technologies to benefit customers to make our lives easier. Come fly with us. Let's make a sonic boom.